Some classics are so perfect that any attempt to remake them feels almost sacrilegious. Yet, Hollywood keeps trying. Here are movies that should have been left untouched, preserving their original charm and impact. Let's start off with a heavy hitter, the revered Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. A cinematic masterpiece and a defining moment in the horror genre, Hitchcock's classic is best known for that shower scene and Bernard Herrmann's nerve-shredding score. Its remake in 1998 by Gus Van Sant was, to put it mildly, unnecessary. Shot for shot, the remake added nothing new to the narrative, felt stale, and suffered from its unfortunate comparison to the original. Even its star-studded cast, including Vince Vaughn and Anne Heche, couldn't save it from the disastrous 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience reaction was primarily one of confusion. Why was this even made? Echoed throughout cinemas globally. Next, we travel to the mysterious Scottish Isle of Summerisle with The Wicker Man. The original film was an unsettling slow burner centered around a policeman searching for a missing girl in a pagan community. The remake starred Nicolas Cage and, well, it's fair to say, it missed the mark. The unintentional humor, including the infamous "not the bees" scene, was a far cry from the ominous dread of the original. And it didn't sit well with audiences either, with a measly 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. The cast seemed as baffled as the viewers, with Cage later claiming it was meant to be absurd. The original Planet of the Apes is a classic piece of 60s science fiction, blending social commentary with an ingenious twist ending. The Tim Burton-directed remake in 2001, starring Mark Wahlberg, was visually stunning but lacked the substance and subtext of the original. Its infamous ending, aiming for shock value, ended up causing audience confusion instead. Burton admitted he considered the movie more of a reimagining rather than a straight-up remake. However, with a disappointing 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's clear fans of the original were left unimpressed. The Day the Earth Stood Still. This landmark 1951 sci-fi classic contained a pacifist message wrapped in a tale of alien visitation. Its 2008 remake starring Keanu Reeves was less a remake, more a hollow echo. Critics panned the film for being too heavy on special effects and too light on coherent storytelling, which resulted in a poor 21% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The director, Scott Derrickson, later confessed in an interview that he was profoundly affected by the critical reaction, leading him to strive for more creative control in his subsequent films. The original The Haunting is a masterclass in psychological horror, using atmosphere and suggestion to deliver chills. The 1999 remake was quite the opposite, relying on over-the-top CGI effects that stripped away all subtlety. The behind-the-scenes drama didn't help either. Rumors circulated about on-set disputes and rushed editing to meet the release date. The final product was panned by critics and earned a dismal 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. The original Arthur, starring Dudley Moore as a lovable, drunken millionaire, is an essential 80s comedy. The film was a hit thanks to Moore's charming performance and the hilarious script. Unfortunately, the 2011 remake with Russell Brand fell flat. The critics labeled it as an unnecessary retread that failed to bring the magic of the original. It garnered a disappointing 26% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences found Brand's take on the character more annoying than endearing, and even co-star Helen Mirren couldn't save this sinking ship. The original The Lady Killers is a beloved British black comedy, with Alec Guinness leading a gang of hapless criminals. However, the 2004 Coen Brothers remake, despite starring Tom Hanks, couldn't recapture the original's charm. Critics found the remake to be too over-the-top and lacking the understated humor of the original. It managed to scrape together a 55% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience reception was mixed at best, with many pointing out the unnecessary, excessive slapstick humor that diluted the film's essence. Peter Sellers' original The Pink Panther series is classic comedy gold, thanks to his memorable performance as the bumbling Inspector Clouseau. Unfortunately, Steve Martin's 2006 remake was met with a lukewarm response. The humor was described as forced and less sophisticated than the original series. Despite its massive promotional efforts, the film ended up with a mediocre 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. The behind-the-scenes drama added to its woes, with rumors of multiple script rewrites and a rushed production process. Even Martin admitted in an interview that he found stepping into Sellers' shoes intimidating.
I assure you, Your Highness, your guests will be caused no embarrassment whatsoever. They will not even be aware that my men are present in their disguises.
In that case, you have my permission.
The original Godzilla is a Japanese cinematic masterpiece, a metaphor for nuclear destruction. Roland Emmerich's 1998 remake, however, missed the mark completely. Rather than maintaining the original's allegorical nature, it morphed into a typical monster film. Despite the substantial special effects budget, the remake was met with unfavorable reviews, earning a 16% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Fans of the original felt it lacked the emotional depth and cultural context, turning a thoughtful commentary into a mindless action film. The dismal audience response led to the cancellation of a planned sequel.
Dynamic violence, savage action, spectacular thrills. Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Last, but definitely not least, the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory holds a special place in many people's hearts. Roald Dahl's story was brought to life with an unforgettable performance by Gene Wilder. The Tim Burton-directed 2005 remake, despite starring Johnny Depp, couldn't capture the original's magic. Critics thought it was visually impressive but lacked the heart of the original. It ended up with a decent 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the audience sentiment seemed more mixed.
The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries? Who ever heard of a snozberry?
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.